Dillian Whyte will face an individual named Tann on the undercard of Terence Crawford versus Julius Indongo. This is just an 8-round takeover fight for Dillian Whyte. I do not for the life of me understand why so many people were upset that Dillian Whyte was fighting Michael Grant. I just can't get my head around it. It's just a takeover fight, as I've mentioned in other videos. It's just him getting out, shaking off some ring rust before he takes on a legitimate opponent later on in the year. This undercard that he's fighting on is not an Eddie Hearn show. It's a Bob Arum show. It's not about Dillian Whyte. It's about Terence Crawford and Julius Indongo. Dillian Whyte is lucky to have even got a slot on the show at all, given the fact that it's not an Eddie Hearn show. It's not even in the UK, it's in the United States. So he's lucky to have got on the show, and he's just there to familiarize himself with the United States, maybe get a nice easy knockout, so on and so forth. There's nothing wrong with taking a takeover fight. Some of the greatest fighters of all time, in between world title fights, were taking takeover fights against journeymen. But yet Dillian Whyte does it on someone else's show, and it's a scandal. Oh, this is terrible. How can he be fighting this guy? How can he be fighting my... People, what are you upset about? I don't understand it. It's not an Eddie Hearn show. You know? And if anything, Michael Grant might have actually been a better opponent than this Tann guy. Michael Grant has actually been more active than Tann. I had a look at Tann's box rec. He's a tall guy, 6'6". He's big, which is what Dillian Whyte wanted for his target practice, somebody tall, because the heavyweight champions are all tall, other than Joseph Parker. Well, I mean, Joseph Parker's tall too, but compared to the other heavyweight champions, he's not that tall. So that's what Dillian Whyte wanted, somebody tall that he could practice against. But Tann, as I say, has been less active than Michael Grant. He certainly hasn't fought the level of opposition that Michael Grant has fought over the years. Probably can't punch like Michael Grant. I did have a look at one of Tann's recent fights where he got stopped in Russia. He fought some Russian guy and got stopped. And Tann, as you would expect, looked pretty terrible. He seems in not the most horrific shape you've ever seen a heavyweight, right? Not good shape, but he didn't look in horrific shape. His technique looked horrible, the way he was throwing punches, but he seemed lively against that Russian guy. He seemed like he was actually trying to fight back and give it a go. Hopefully he'll do that too against Dillian Whyte. He'll give it a go and allow Whyte to work on certain things. What we don't want, or what Whyte certainly don't want, is for this Tann guy to just be in survival mode from the opening bell, because that just leads to frustration. Hopefully he'll come out and have a go and leave himself open enough for Dillian Whyte to work on the things he's been working on. And again, Whyte, judging by the way he looks on social media and the videos he's been posting, he looks in very good condition. So I'm interested to see what kind of shape Dillian Whyte's in, where his weight is at, and how sharp he looks. That's why I'm interested. This is a Dillian Whyte ticking over fight / showcase / barometer to see where he's at this point in terms of his fitness. That's what this is about. That's what it was always about. It was never about Dillian Whyte fighting a top level opponent on a Bob Arum undercard. Bob Arum's not going to stump up the budget for that. Why would he? He's got a unification fight for the undisputed super lightweight title topping the bill. Why the hell would he care about Dillian Whyte on the undercard, a guy who's not even one of his fighters? Why the hell would he care about stumping up money for that? It makes no sense. That's why his own heavyweight, Brian Jennings, is only in an 8-rounder on the undercard. Because it's not about them, man. It's about Crawford and Indongo. That's what the whole show's about. It's not realistic to expect him to put Dillian Whyte, a guy who's not even one of his own fighters, in with somebody good. It's not realistic. I don't know where people were trying to go with that. Anyway, here's what it is. Whyte is fighting Tann. He himself in an AFL interview said he didn't see a problem with fighting Michael Grant. And in fact, for nostalgic reasons, he actually quite liked the fight, because Michael Grant is the last of the heavyweights from that era, from the Lennox Lewis era, to still be active. Because Klitschko's retired. Michael Grant was the last guy. And he said from a nostalgic point of view, he would have liked to have fought him. And I can understand that. If you're going to fight a journeyman, if you're going to fight a knockover job, why not fight someone that comes with a bit of nostalgia? You know? It's understandable. So he was a bit disappointed that Eddie Hearn pulled the fight. And I'm baffled as to why Eddie Hearn pulled the fight. Why would he pull the fight? What difference is it going to make? It's not like Eddie Hearn's selling tickets for this show. It's a Bob Arum show. Nobody cares about who Dillian Whyte fights on the undercard. It's not going to make no difference in terms of ticket sales. Not going to make no difference in terms of who tunes in. You know? I mean, what, are more people going to tune in on Sky now, staying up till 5 in the morning to watch Dillian Whyte because he's fighting Michael Tann than they were if he was going to fight Michael Grant? It's not going to make no difference. He should have stuck with Michael Grant. Anyway, let me know how you feel in the comment section below, people. It's happening. I'm out.